Evening, Conservation Commission of the Town of Scituate. It's a call to order. This meeting is being held remotely as an alternative means of public access pursuant to the order issued by the Governor of Massachusetts dated March 12, 2020, superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the Town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting law. The meeting will have a question and answer session following each public hearing. Abutters will be able to raise their hand. Please keep your comments to less than 3 minutes, please. So it's a call to order. Richard Harding.
I'm here.
Doug Alberg. Doug's not here yet. Penny Scott Pipes.
I'm here.
Jen Foley.
Here.
Andy Gallagher.
Here.
And Brendan Collins.
Here.
And that was Doug piping in?
Yeah, I am here. I was just muted.
Got it. Great. Thank you. Thanks for all being here tonight. So you have the agenda. Is there any additions or omissions to the agenda?
Frank, I think you have a few.
I know I wanted to discuss some of the goings on at our new or any of our properties. Just want to have a discussion about some maintenance and trash, things like that.
And I was going to just give an update at the end of the meeting on the 2 articles we have in this year for CPC.
Great. Was there anything else, Amy?
No, I think that's it. Although I did want you to announce 2 continuances that we have, just so people.
Okay, and also we're going to be continuing 0 Booth Hill Road to Wednesday, January 6th, and we're going to continue Four Cliff Estates to January 6th. We'll announce that during the regular meeting, but just anybody that's in on this now. So can I have an acceptance of the agenda?
I make a motion we accept the agenda with the add-ons we just mentioned.
Second it, Richard.
All in favor? Richard?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
Frank? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to start out with 281 Old Oaken Bucket.
Yeah, and so Frank, 281 is continued from the last hearing. We had a couple of administrative items that needed to be looked into, and it appears that both items have been resolved. One was looking into whether the town of Norwell had been notified for the abutters, and that was confirmed. And then also there was a question about one of the parcels, and so the applicant has provided information about the estate of Harris Estate owns that property. And I think it's in transition to or there's a purchase and sale for the applicant who's doing the ANRAD. And I think if Mark Casey is on the call, he might want to chime in, but I think that we're basically good to close unless you want to, there's questions from the board. But wait a minute, I've got, where'd he go? Mark Casey. Oh, here he is. Mark is there. Okay, he's on.
Yeah. I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead, Penny.
My question was, when I looked at that, I have been out to this property prior to all this, but are we approving a wetlands crossing or just an ANRAD here? I'm a little confused because I wasn't at the last meeting.
It's a temporary.
It's a notice of intent, accepting a resource area and temporary crossing for perk tests.
Just for the perk test, not for a project, just so they can get out there to perk.
Well, remember though, Penny, that this is for the delineation of the wetlands on this property. So
Right.
they're asking to cross over to do perk tests, but at the same time, it's similar to an ANRAD in that we're going to accept the resource areas. And that was reviewed by Art Allen, and Amy's
Yes.
were
Yeah.
satisfied with that.
I was out there with Art one time. So I'm all set. I just want to know that I'm not accepting a permanent wetlands. They'll come back with a project, right?
This is just for them, a temporary
Okay.
crossing, so they can do perk tests on an
Okay.
upland.
I'm fine. Thank you
Thank you.
for clarifying that.
Did Mark Casey want to speak to that?
Only if anybody has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
No. That was my only question.
Okay.
There's nobody in the audience. I'd make a motion to close.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak to this? Okay, we have a motion to close.
That was
Second.
Actually,
That was,
hey, Frank.
yes.
I'm
Hold
sorry,
on, we
I'm sorry.
have two hands.
okay.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay. Who's first?
Patricia.
Hold on one second, Patricia. I think you've
Okay, now, can you hear me?
yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay. Patricia Jacquel, 265 Old Oaken Bucket Road. And I don't know if you'll be able to answer me on this tonight, but what is proposed for those, that land?
We don't know.
Right now, the only proposal that they have in front of us is they're requesting that they can cross from an upland area to another upland area, and they have to go through a section of wetlands to get to that. So they're asking for that, and at the same time, they're asking the commission to accept their, what we call a resource delineation. So their consultant has marked the wetlands, the resource areas. We've reviewed it with the town's consultant and our agent and members, and we're agreeing that they have the wetlands lines and the resource areas in the correct spot. But there's been no project proposed yet for this property.
Oh, because I've heard, many different things. I'm one of my property is along with three other people. We're abutting part of that property. And when will we know what's planned?
When they submit the plans to the town.
Okay, and, but isn't some of that land conservation land?
They wouldn't be able to do anything on land that's owned by the town of Scituate or Norwell Conservation. Their project can only be on their property.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So
but we will-
unfortunately, we don't have any more answers than that. It's kind of a typical process. The person that's looking to do something with this property first wants to confirm their wetlands lines, and they want to do soil evaluation. And the only way to get to a part of that property is going over a wetland. So that's why they chose this path.
Oh, okay. And when will we know what project is proposed?
When they submit something.
No, so you don't know
We-
when?
We don't know. I mean, I would assume that the person that owns this is going to take all this information into account. After they do their perk tests in this other piece of uplands, they might be able to figure out what type of septic system that the property would support. So I would assume that they have a ways to go.
Uh-huh.
They may have some things in mind, but we're not privy to that.
And that entire property, which I think I heard there were two owners, is that, it's already been sold?
I think that there's a purchase and sale agreement
Yeah,
for part of it. I think that the applicant owns one parcel and then has a purchase and sale for the other one pending whatever they do.
uh-huh. And I mean, should we as abutters to this be concerned? We're all on septic systems. And, if it turns out that there are many dwellings that are going to be constructed in there, I know my neighbors and I are really concerned that, with the septic system, it might be, compromised with a lot of building.
Whenever the developer decides what they're going to move forward on, there'll be more than likely the size of the project would constitute a stormwater evaluation. So there's a whole bunch of steps to move forward on, but that's not what we have in front of us right
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Well, thank you. You've answered my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we get Liz on? Liz?
Oh, yeah, I'm unmuted now. Okay, I just have a couple of quick
And
questions.
just give us the name and address.
Oh, sorry. Liz O'Reilly, 179 Maple Street, Scituate.
Thank you.
I did go up to the Conservation Committee and looked at the deed that was presented for the property that was listed as unknown. And maybe this isn't the place to get the answer. It's confusing because it refers to the property being sold to Leo and Elsie Quinlan in 1940. So I don't know. I also checked with the assessor's office and there's been no taxes paid on the property. Do you know if there's a lien on the property? And if there is, can a perk test be done on a property with a lien?
Is Mark still out there?
Yes, I am.
Do you want to try to address any of that?
Sure. The property belongs to the estate of Charles Harris. Okay. There is no lien on the property. Okay. There is a deed, okay, which does actually include this property. The attorney that was hired to do the title work, his name is Ed Casey. He's probably one of the best in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as far as title work and determining ownership. Okay. He thoroughly reviewed this. We also have attorney Bill Orenberg who has reviewed this. Okay. So the property does belong to the estate of Charles Harris. Okay. And can we do perk test on a property where there was a lien? Well, there is no lien on the property.
Okay.
So it's a moot point. I don't, I'm curious as to what begs the question, is there a lien on the property?
There's no record of property taxes being paid on the property.
That's right.
So I didn't know if the town had a lien on it for unpaid property taxes.
As often happens with the assessors, not just in Scituate, but in every town in the South Shore, there are often many mistakes. Nobody does it on purpose, but there are mistakes made. This is a kind of a classic example. The assessor's office winds up hiring usually a GIS specialist to put together tax maps, okay? And the people that actually put together tax maps are rarely surveyors, rarely engineers, people that are skilled in using GIS, and mistakes get made.
Okay, so my last question is in regards to the bridge area that they needed to develop to come across, that there was an area for coming across to protect the environment and the wetlands right in that area. Is that able to be done when we have a foot of snow out there on the property?
So I don't think that there's a bridge proposed, Liz. What they looked for was an area that would cause the least amount of damage. They've reviewed that with our environmental consultant, and he feels that they can drive a backhoe or rubber-tired machine across that area with minimal damage. Apparently it's a rocky area that they'll be traveling on top of, and they're not going to build a road, they're not going to build a bridge, they're simply going to go into that area and
Right. I
do
figured that it's just an area that they've designed that they say this is the safest area to go through. But my question is, if we've got a foot of snow, are they able to come through and do that during the winter like this right now with the snow and potential rain? Is there any restrictions on that?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, the machine can certainly travel through that. And when they choose to do their perk tests, I think it would be up to them. They may not want to do it when it's really wet.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Sure.
Yeah, your consultant will be, number one, on site when this happens, and that will be his call. If he feels that the conditions are not optimal, he can ask us to put what he refers to as swamp mats down on the ground, or we can postpone to a different time and things have dried out.
Do we have a date yet for the date that they're gonna perk? Do we know?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So I think, Liz, your other point with regard to a lien and taxes, and I know that we can't pull a building permit
Mhm,
on a piece of property where taxes are owed.
mhm.
So that's a part that we've encountered before. I've personally encountered before. You can't pull a building permit. The town won't issue a building permit. But right now they're looking to do perk tests, and it doesn't sound like there's any taxes owed because of that glitch or whatever. Maybe the town should pursue some back taxes or something. But that's
Right,
that's not the Conservation Commission's.
right. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
So again, this is all preliminary sort of discovery, if you call it. They want to figure out what they can or can't do on that piece of property. But my guess is you should stay tuned for more. But you'll get a butter notification again when.
When they're gonna perk, will we get notification for that?
No,
Or this is the only one?
this is the only one.
Okay, so to find out that information, just keep in contact with the Conservation Committee
Yes.
office? Okay.
Yep. And again, you'll get notification because they'll have to refile for a project. The only thing they're asking for right now is permission to cross that wetland and to delineate the resource area. And we've reviewed both of those with a consultant.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
And Liz, also that perk tests are done in coordination with the Board of Health.
Okay,
So, because they're really evaluating for Title V,
right.
which is under the jurisdiction of the Board of Health. So between them and our office, we'll know. But we, and we'll have Art Allen there, so we should know too. But
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Any questions? All right. I'll take a motion to close.
I'll give the motion again to close. That's Richard.
Thanks, Richard. Do we have a
I'll
second?
second it.
Thank you, Penny. All in favor? Richard,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Thank you. Zero Booth Hill. So we have a request to continue Zero Booth Hill to January 6th.
I'll make a motion to continue Zero Booth Hill until January 6th.
We have a second.
Second, Doug.
Doug. All in favor? Richard,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Number 10, the Driftway, the new Driftway. So we're going to reopen this. Is that right, Amy? On December 21st, 2020, 5:15 p.m., the Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaw regarding the application of Joseph Scanzillo, trustee, Jacob Hatch Condominium Trust, to install additional parking on property located at 10 New Driftway, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Formal access to the virtual meeting is available on the agenda posted on the town website. Okay. Who do we have for that? Is that Paul?
we have Paul Mirabito on.
And I believe Joe Scanzillo is on as well.
Okay.
Can you let Joe in if he isn't in already?
He's in, but you should present
Okay,
a
all
hearing, Paul.
right. last week, we received a 9-page supplemental engineering review from the commission's peer review consultant, John Chessier. And I spoke to Amy last week and I asked to have the hearing continued because for purposes of potentially having a further discussion on the project, because we have not reviewed John's comments. Today, we did review them. Greg Tansey from our office put together the original design for the additional parking relative to the stormwater. There are some issues we need to talk to John directly about, mainly in the form of clarification. And our plan at this point would be to, rather than have any further discussion tonight, is to let the board know that we have received his comments. We've not had time to respond to them. But what we did note, looking at the comments today, we do have some questions of a clarification nature to speak to John directly about. And we'd like to continue this to the 25th of January. And hopefully we can wrap it up at that time, subject to John's agreement with our approach. So I don't have any other further comments at this time. I don't know if Joe wants to chime in at all, but we did discuss this afternoon with him. And that's what he's in agreement with a continuance as well.
Yeah, I mean, we can continue for sure. Although when we do come back on the 25th, though, it would be good if you could start us from the beginning, since it's been 3 years since we've heard this, and we now have three new commissioners that didn't, weren't on board for the original. But so, well, I think we just take a motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I make the motion?
As long as there's nobody else that wants.
Can't hear you, Frank.
Can't hear you, Frank.
As long as there's no one else that wants to add any other
I know,
comments.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to continue 10 New Driftway till January 25th.
Is it the 25th?
It is.
It is.
All right. Do I have a second? That was Penny for a motion.
Second, Doug.
Second from Doug. Great. All in favor? Richard,
Yes.
Doug,
Yep.
Penny,
Yes.
Jen,
Frank?
Paul.
Just one quick comment. One of the things we do want to do is to meet John on site at some point, and we can let Amy know when that would be if she wants to be there as well. There's some things that he needs to see on the site as part of our review. It'll make things go a lot smoother, I think so.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Do I see a hand raised?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, there is someone.
Yeah, Dan Family.
Okay.
All right.
Nick.
But not for this.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I have no idea why he's here.
How's that? Am I off mute?
You are.
Okay, thanks. There was no discussion on the Booth Hill Road one, and I know one of the other gentlemen from our neighborhood had his hand raised, and I don't think he was seen to have that, but I didn't hear any discussion between the motion and the vote.
Dan, let me finish up the one that we're on here, and then we'll circle back, okay?
Okay, I just lost my video, so I just wanted to make sure we got that before the meeting ended.
Yeah, let's finish up on the only thing that happened on Booth Hill, it was continued, but let's finish our vote on this one and we'll come.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Badger had a question.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
We're gonna finish this up and then we'll circle back. So I think we were at,
Been moved and seconded.
and then we were voting, we were through
Yeah.
with Jen, maybe?
I think we were two, Jen.
Jen?
Yes, again.
Yeah, sorry. Andy
Yes.
and Brendan.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so
To continue.
we continue to the 26th. We'll loop back to Zero Booth Hill. Zero Booth Hill was continued. There was no discussion. The applicant requested that this be continued. So it's been continued to January 6th. There's no discussion when the applicant requests it be continued. Is there anybody out there that doesn't understand that? Anybody want to put a hand up for 0 Booth Hill?
They must have gone away.
Okay.
Moving.
If they do decide to come back in, make sure you come back in at the end of a hearing and not in the middle of it. Thank you.
Dan Fennelly's unmuted if he wants to say something. Dan, did you get that message? Guess so. All right.
Okay, thank you. So number 4, Cliff Estates Road, there's a request to continue that to
January 6th.
January 6th or the 25th. That was our, the 6th.
January 6th, yeah.
Okay,
So I'll make a
make-
motion to continue it to Wednesday, January 6th, 2021.
Second.
all in favor? Richard,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
and Brendan.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Did you say that's a Wednesday?
Yeah, it's a Wednesday. Why are we meeting a Wednesday? Just
Because-
curious.
I don't remember. There is a reason though.
I think it's because we didn't want to meet on January 4th, basically.
Which is the first business day of the whole year.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
whatever.
All right.
just to shake it up a little.
It's
So-
okay. You shook it.
Speaking of that, Jen, have we gotten, you probably have sent out an email with meeting dates.
Yes.
I'll look for them. Thank you.
I'll send you mine, Frank.
You're the best, Penny.
Oh. Oh.
So 159 Glades Road. What do we got here? On December 21st, 2020, 5:15 p.m., the Town Hall Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Richard and Maura Calan to raise and reconstruct an existing single-family house at location at 159 Rear Glades Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to virtually access this meeting is available on the agenda posted on the town website. So what do we have on for that?
Right, this is Paul Marabito, and I believe Jeff DeLisi is on as well.
Okay,
We're both representing the applicant. This project is it's fairly straightforward. It's a raise and reconstruction of the existing dwelling at 159 Rear Glades Road. It's in a salt marsh and tideland conservation district. It is not on a map barrier beach. The proposed dwelling is essentially the same size as the existing one. It'll be elevated on a wood pile foundation. The flood zone is AE 15. The top of the proposed foundation will be at approximately 17.0, which is 2 feet above the base flood. So that means the first floor will be about 8 to 9 feet above the ground. The lot is relatively flat. It slopes from elevation 9 to elevation 8 at the rear. The rear of the property, you can see on the plan, abuts the salt marsh. There'll be a silt sock placed around the perimeter of the work area. The project has been approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals at their meeting in August of this year. There is everything else is going to remain the same. There's no proposed grade changes. There'll be an open deck at the rear of the building overlooking the marsh. And that's pretty much it. So with that, I'll end and answer any questions you may have.
okay. Penny?
No, as long as it's staying in the same footprint, I really have no problem, and it's being raised up, so, no, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Richard?
Ditto, exactly what Penny said.
Okay. Doug?
My only question was, and you might have gone by this, Paul, I apologize if I missed it, but is this on sewer or is there a septic system out here?
There's an existing septic system. There was a new septic system that was approved by the Board of Health. It was prepared by Morse Engineering. And he's in the process of having that reapproved and putting it in the same location. Again, because the house is in the same location as the existing one, the other system will fit in there without any issues, so.
Oh, okay, so that's why that's not,
Yeah.
that was already addressed previously.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just a standard gravity flow septic system. So you have to put the tank elevated or anything like that?
No, we're in an AE zone. The design he had did not have an elevated tank.
It doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, the design was approved, but the 3 years ran out and he's in the process of reapplying.
Okay. All right. That was my only question. That what was the sensitivity around the system, but it's going to be part of the same project, right? That they'll
Yes.
put the house up and then dig the next septic system. So there's no.
The septic system will go in later.
Okay.
The system there now is obviously in the groundwater, so.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
Penny?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. Jen?
Yeah, I think I'm all set on this one.
Okay. Andy?
I'm all set.
And Brendan?
I'm all set.
You
Amy?
forgot Richard.
Oh, Richard.
No, Richard chimed in.
Oh,
voted.
that's right. I forgot.
I dittoed you, Penny.
Yeah, I know. I'm brain dead. Sorry.
Was that an agreement, Richard?
Yes, it was.
So,
Yes, it was.
I agree.
Amy, any comments on this one?
No.
No. Well, I mean, I think it would be nice to know where the septic system is on the plan. That's one of the comments I had written down. But so I'm understanding it that it's a separate permitting process, so they're going to come in separately for the upgrade
Yes.
of the septic.
Yeah.
Paul?
The septic system?
Yeah,
That's correct.
because
That's
they have a
north.
failed system right now.
I don't know, but there was a new septic system that was approved to replace the one that was there. I think it was done in 2007, but the permits ran out even with the Permit Extension Act. So Greg Morse is going to reapply where that was his original design. Nothing needs to be changed other than perhaps get it approved by the commission and have it reapproved by the Board of Health.
Well, I feel like they should go hand in hand. Like I don't, not sure we should be approving an upgrade to a house with a failed system. I mean, doesn't it need to have a working septic system? I don't know, that.
It does, but they can do the work on the house first, to raise it, then drive the piles. And you would want to have that part of the work done first anyway. So there's a notice service of the system. The system would obviously go in after that, and they would have to have it in before they could get an occupancy permit as well, so.
But it just doesn't really make sense that we're not doing it all at the same time, like we would do.
Well, you can have more than one application on any given property at any given time. This application I filed was strictly for the house and to raise it and put it up on piles. So they can reconstruct it accordingly. And there'd be a separate application for the septic system. It didn't make sense to have us do, that work over where it's already been approved. It's simply a matter of the 3
Well,
years.
but it's expired though. So it was approved in 2007. That's
It has.
13 years ago, almost 14 years
What I'm
ago.
thinking is you can have more than one permit from the Conservation Commission on the property at any given time. And, you know, in this case, the permit I filed for, the notice of intent would be for the work on the house. And Morse Engineering would file, from what I know, they've been filing RDAs for septic system upgrades. So assuming he does that, that's the process he takes. I don't think he'd file a notice of intent for that, but that's up to him. My client informed us that they did have the septic system approved earlier, and I suggested to them, rather than have us do it all over again, just have Morse reapply to get the same thing approved. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Frank, if you want to ask Board of Health what the status is before we close this. I mean, I don't know. That just strikes me as a little bit odd. And then, I mean, I feel like the plan is lacking a little bit of detail as far as like utilities and work areas and stuff like that.
well, the work area is outlined by the silt sock. You can see it going around the 3 sides of the work area. I mentioned earlier is that would encase the work area. The house would be taken down in a day, and then the rest of it's simply driving the piles and building a house on top of that. So other than that, there's no work proposed on the ground. We aren't changing the grades. We don't need to do that. So once the piles are in, the work's going to be conducted approximately 8 to 9 feet off the ground. That would be the framing and the construction of the dwelling. But again, I don't see any reason why this couldn't be approved and the septic system come later. I mean, as far as I know, he's in the process of filing that fairly quickly. And you wouldn't put the system in until the house was moved along anyway, because of the vehicles being parked on the lot during construction. You know, the carpenters, you know, trucks or cars.
Paul, is there, are they going to use the existing water service?
Yes. Yeah, that's the only utility they have out there.
Okay. Well, it is odd that we don't have both. I mean, I guess I get it. It's a different engineering firm.
2 firms.
So,
I mean, we were asked to do the zoning board work, which we did do, and we got the decision, and that was recorded, and then we filed this.
so Amy, when this goes before the town building inspector for a permit, there's a sign-off sheet. And if the Board of Health doesn't sign off, then they don't have a permit.
Right.
So I think we can condition this with those pieces, and I don't think the building inspector is going to sign off for a permit until he has something from Board of Health saying they've got a septic. So I feel reasonably comfortable we can do that.
Okay.
All right.
Greg Morse has also been trying to get attention.
Well, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody that wants to speak to this other than the engineer? Thanks, Jen.
Yep.
Is Greg on the call?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Greg Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering. I concur with everything that Paul Marabito said. I have been retained to submit a septic system design plan for this property. I'll be submitting the same plan that I had done for the former house at this property. It's located in the front yard. How Paul has cited the new proposed house does not interfere in any way with the septic system that we will be submitting. I expect to submit that to the Board of Health within the next week to 2 weeks. It will also require going in front of you, most likely an RDA application, as it's a septic system upgrade. But it will be back before the Conservation Commission as well as a separate application just for the septic. This was approved previously by the Board of Health and by the Conservation Commission. Since that time, I don't know of any regulations that have changed with either department that would prevent this from being approved again.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Anybody else for this project? Any other hands up? Okay,
I'll make a motion to close then.
that's great. That's Penny. Do I have a second?
Jen, second.
Jen Foley, second. All in favor? Richard?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Frank.
109 River Street. I think I saw a couple of people enter the meeting, but just to let them know that 10, the new Driftway was continued to January 26th. 5th.
Yep.
January 25th.
25th.
Yep. So anybody that's come on, that the new Driftway was continued to then, and Zero Booth Hill was continued to
1/6.
the 7th, right?
6th.
6th.
6th. Okay. All right. So anybody that entered late, both of those have already been continued. So we have 109 River Street on December 21st, 2020, 5:15 p.m. in the Town Hall. Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Mass General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Richard and Valerie Whitehouse for raise and reconstruction and elevating existing single-family house on woodpile foundation at location 109 River Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meetings available as on the agenda posted at the town website. Good evening. Paul?
Just of note, this is a notice of intent.
Okay.
Frank, with me on this is Jeff DeLisi. I believe he's on the line as well. This is another project for the raising and reconstruction of an existing single-family dwelling on 109 River Street. There's an existing septic system on the left side of the lot, which is going to stay in its existing location. It's a fairly new upgraded system. The proposed house will be on a wood pile foundation. The existing house is partially in the velocity zone, which has a elevation of 17. Under the state building code, the top of the pile has to be at least 19, and we're proposing a top of pile of elevation of 19.1. The ground elevation is varies from 10.1 to about 10.7 at the rear of the house, so it's relatively flat. What that means is the first floor of the house will be at about elevation 21, or approximately 11 feet above the existing grade. Again, that's to meet the FEMA requirements here, having the top of the pile at elevation 19.1. There are no changes to the grades on the lot. The existing water service is going to be used. The existing septic system, including the tank, will remain in place, and the piles will be driven according to the structural plans. There's a silt sock going around the perimeter of the site. There's a detail for same on the plan. And other than that, that's the limit of work. Once the piles are driven, then the home would be constructed on top of the first floor frame, and they would go up from there.
Okay.
So with that, I'll end and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
10.
Richard?
Yeah. Paul, you didn't speak to the area outside of the limits of the house. If I read it correctly, and I may not have, there's a bit of additional um, pavement that is included in this? In other words, you're raising the level or the number of square footage of pavement around the house. Did I read that correctly?
It says that.
Oh, there's an increase in impervious area from the house construction,
Yes.
9.4%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's due to some additional roof area that's not there with the existing house at the present time.
Mm-hmm. And for that matter, the house is a little bigger, is it not?
Yes, it is.
10 feet wide.
Increase comes from. There's some in the left front corner on the River Street side. You see the existing pavement. It's labeled Bitconk. That's
Yep.
going to stay in place. And other than that, the increase in impervious area is the roof area from the house itself. We aren't proposing any additional pavement.
Okay, for the moment. Go ahead on, Frank.
Doug?
Do we have, I think I should have asked this question a long time ago to my fellow commission members, but when there's an increase in impervious area, is there an upset limit to that?
Yes.
Or is that strictly regulatorily wise, is that a judgment call?
No, it's not a judgment call. Anything with a roof area has to conform to the setback requirements because that's considered a structure. We have filed with the zoning board, and that hearing is tomorrow night. This house does meet all the setback requirements, with the exception of the right side yard setback. As you look at it from the street, the existing right side yard setback, I believe, is 6.2 feet. We're going to increase that to 6.4 feet. Again, the required setback is 8 feet, but we're gonna increase it from 6.2 to 6.4. Other than that, the other setbacks are conforming. The front yard, the rear yard, and the left side yard.
All right. Yes. I was actually speaking to the impervious area.
The impervious area, the general bylaw says if you have an increase of 25% or more in impervious area, then the stormwater bylaw kicks in. In note number 7 on the plan shows that the
9.4
of the pavement and the structures, and we have the proposed impervious area below that, with the increase being 9.4%.
Okay.
So it by 181 square feet.
So the upset limit then is 25%, and all that does is trigger another bylaw. It's not
The stormwater.
it's not a stopgap. It's not.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I that's something I should have been up to speed on for quite some time. And so my only other question then, Paul, was the care of the septic system. Is that being replaced, or are you going to work around that existing?
No.
They're going to work around it.
Okay. So the piles, whatever is going to be
That's correct.
designed to go around that system.
Yes, the structural engineer took that into account. We had provided him with the as-built plan from the Board of Health.
Okay. And the existing septic system will stay below grade,
That's correct.
and you'll just drop an inlet down into that. Okay.
That's right.
All right. That's my questions for now. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Doug.
Pardon me, I'm going to unmute Jeff DeLisi. He's got his hand up. I think he might want to weigh in on something Doug just brought up.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Amy. I know how much you hate unmuting lawyers. So, listen, on this issue of impervious area, I just wanted to point out the Paul's counting as impervious the roof area, right? But the roof, the existing house has a crawl space, and so the entire house is actually impervious in the ground, so to speak. Once it is being raised, it is being put on piles here. And so even though the area below the house is covered with roof, other than the area of the piles, it's actually pervious. And I just didn't, I wasn't exactly certain how, whether the commission cares about that in the context of the discussion, but it seems to me to be almost a misleading concept here, because the ground will absorb, wash over and so forth as it comes through as a result of that.
Frank, can I speak to that a little bit?
Sure.
Jeff, thank you. And that's why I didn't pursue it further than I did.
Yep.
It would only raise another question, and that is if anything is going to cover the ground that is under the house, which I figured somebody else was going to get around to. But otherwise, no, I understood that. That's why I stopped where I did.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
My turn.
Penny?
Yes. Let me see, Paul, so the new house will be, it looks like about 10 feet wider than the existing house, but it is up on pilings, so that's good. The deck is not quite double that huge deck, but you are going to put some new decks out front?
And in the rear, there's an open deck in the
Yeah,
front.
no, I see the one in the rear. Yep,
And there's one labeled in the front.
right. Okay,
And
and then the shed, you're going to remove the shed in the back corner there,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay, those decks, they're going to be open decks without any roofing, correct?
That's correct. They're open.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Jen?
Yeah, I think I'm okay for now.
Andy?
My questions have been covered.
Brendan?
I guess just one question. I guess maybe if I did miss it or if it was said, what's going to be put under the house?
Nothing.
It's just
It'll just be sand.
okay.
Okay. Amy?
Okay.
I don't have anything other than what was brought up. Good comment. I mean, I think it's a good project, tiny lot.
Do we have anybody in the audience with questions about this project? So, Paul, just a couple of quick ones here. I'm looking at the plan and trying to determine where the actual paving is. It says edge of paving. So is that sort of like a pork chop shape, that asphalt paving?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's on the left side there as you look at it.
Yep.
Concrete, yes, it is. What's
And
going to
they
happen is the front of the house doesn't have a open deck on it, but now they're going to have the open deck, which will protrude out over some of the existing asphalt. Not by much, but maybe on the left side.
So that paving goes right up to the property line, or does it go
Yes. Yep. You can see the edge of paving. It's just to the left of the septic system as well.
right?
Yeah.
Just seems like this kind of funny narrow strip of paving running up the side.
I don't know why they did that. But
Has there been any discussion about removing any of it?
No, we haven't talked about it. I don't know why that's there. I don't believe the current owner put that there. That might have been put there when they did the septic system for some reason, but I'm not sure of it. That strip there you see by the septic system,
Right.
that's probably maybe 3 feet wide, 3 or 4 feet wide, just by looking at it it's a 10 scale.
Yeah, it just seems odd.
It's a walkway, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't go anywhere.
No, I know.
Like I said, I don't know if they put it there for the septic system to support the sand or whatever, but
Yeah, it's a very tight lot there right along River Street.
Yeah.
Right on the
Yeah.
front, right?
I mean, there's really no room there to do much other than store your trash barrels.
Okay.
Maybe that's what they use it for. Okay. What do you think, Frank?
Well, it's always good to get them elevated.
Yep.
Septic's
Just
already-
just one thing that occurred to me: where are you going to put the house while it's being raised?
In the dumpster.
It's just about enough room.
It's being raised, R-A-Z-E-D.
Yeah.
And
They're gonna wreck it.
then the new one will be.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it. All right. Sorry.
The dumpster.
I had the wrong raise.
All right.
Frank, we have Valerie Whitehouse with her hand raised.
Okay.
Or have you called for butters yet?
I haven't. Do we have anybody in the audience that wants to speak to this? I think the owner wants to speak to it, which is fine.
Speak or forever hold your peace.
Can you hear us now?
I lost Amy.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, this is Richard Whitehouse. Just a little information on the pavement. That pavement was originally cut right before we bought that small house, just to put that new septic in.
I see.
So at this point, I probably would not want to leave it like that because it's just not that sightly.
So would you be removing that thin strip, or what was
I
your?
wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't know what the repercussions are about removing it, but I wouldn't be opposed to removing it if that helps make more pervious material.
Well, that's something we try to get as much in this area. It's all a resource area, and so any place that we can get some recharge. The house is a little bit bigger. To someone's point, it's on piles now, so that water flows under it more freely. But anytime we can get some impervious areas removed, it's helpful.
And Frank, I would add only that in Humrock, we've been pretty consistent about trying to either reduce or not allow any additional impervious. So if his offer stands, I think that would be a great help.
I would remove it.
Great.
I think the lot would look much nicer with it at least removed around that horseshoe.
Got it.
You're right. It would look better.
Great. Well, I think that can just be put into the orders, right, Amy? Maybe at some time Paul could give us a revised plan to just show.
Being removed.
To show that.
We can just add a condition approving that also.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if I don't have any other questions, I'm going to go for a motion.
I make a motion, we close with the condition being stipulated that that little strip of asphalt paving, whatever it is, be removed from the side of the house in the orders.
I'll second that.
So we got a second from Richard. All in favor, Richard?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And Brendan?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. All right. We are on
Excuse
to.
me. Can we make a motion to issue that one too?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to issue.
Second.
So all in favor? Seems kind of redundant to ask Richard and Penny to go again, but Richard?
Yep.
Doug?
Yes. He could change his mind between.
Penny? Penny?
Yes.
She could.
Oh.
Jen?
Never know.
Jen?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And Brendan?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we have an RDA for 250 Driftway, On December 21st, 2020, during the 5:15 meeting at Town Hall, Situate Conservation Commission will act on the request of the Town of Scituate for a determination of applicability of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Situate Wetlands Bylaws for activity related to pilings for a deck at property known as 250 Driftway, Scituate. Butters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meeting will be available on the agenda posted at the town website. So this looks like Cabanero.
We have Brendan on the line.
Evening.
Evening, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Brendan Sullivan, Kevin R. Consulting, here representing the town of Scituate for the renovations to the Widows Walk Golf Course, the clubhouse. We've been approved from planning board for a site plan review waiver for the site. This is basically a two-phase project. The first phase is going to be the construction or the reconstruction of part of the clubhouse. And then we're going to file again for the parking lot itself. So the basement of the clubhouse is just into the floodplain by just under half a foot. The floodplain is elevation 16. The basement floor is elevation 15.6 as shown on the plan. Basically what they're doing in the jurisdiction of the conservation here, which is most of the parking lots in the floodplain, is that they're proposing, they're basically going to cover the existing deck that's up there and expand the restaurant, and they have a proposed deck going out over the existing parking lot area. It's going to be supported by 6 posts, 6 pillars as shown on the plan that'll be in the floodplain. And the only other thing in the floodplain is going to be the privet hedge. We have a privet hedge there to kind of block some of the transformer and the entrance to the under the basement there where the golf carts are. We kind of a bag drop off area there. So really that's about it in the conservation jurisdiction is the 6 supports, the 6 deck supports in the floodplain.
Okay. Richard?
I got nothing right now.
Okay, Doug?
No, I don't think so. Brendan, that underneath the deck, there's a label that says garage slab. Is that for the existing garage slab that goes underneath there, or is there going to be, there's not going to be a slab under the deck, or is there going to be?
Nope, we're going to keep it paved because so the garage slab, that label is for the existing garage slab. That starts right there.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thanks. No question.
Penny?
No, I'm all set.
Jen?
I'm good.
Andy?
Good on this one.
And Brendan?
I'm all set, thanks.
Amy?
Yeah, so I was a little bit confused on the plan because there's references to stormwater infiltration, but just to be clear, that this RVA is just for the deck supports. And if that's the case, then I would say that it meets the requirements of a negative determination. Is that correct, Brendan?
Yes, that is correct.
Right.
All the additions and the stormwater infiltration stuff is outside of the floodplain and outside any buffers to any resource areas there.
But so that will be subject to a separate review.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
By whom?
Planning board,
Okay.
who's already reviewed it.
Well, you've already reviewed it. Okay. Thank you. Anybody in the audience?
Anybody interested, raise your hand if you want to speak to this.
Okay.
Make a motion. -3.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Doug. All in favor? Richard?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Doug?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
Awesome. Frank, yes. Thank you. Thanks, Brennan.
Great, thank you.
So that's nice. Cleaned up all of our regular scheduled things. You have an amendment for existing orders, Amy?
Yeah, what is it?
Actually, we have Brendan Sullivan still on the call. We can have Brendan go through. So this is like the first step of the request for an amendment to existing orders. It's for property at 190 Glades Road, DEP number 682799. I think most of you have walked this site. It's the one with all the outcroppings, like the first lot that you come to once you go through the gates. Leo was digging out the septic system earlier in the year. But anyway, so Brendan can go through what the proposed changes, and if you guys are amenable to taking this as an amendment, then the following hearing, we can pick a date to hear the actual public hearing for the amendment. So Brendan, you want to talk?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so what everybody remembers the site, but it's the as Amy said, the novel ledge that's out on the glades. So the previous owner, who was the abutter, installed part of the septic, installed the septic field, septic tanks, pump chambers, was starting construction, meaning scraping out some of the ledge. All the siltation controls have been in place. Then he put the lot on the market and it sold. So we're working for the new owners, who have a different, same type of layout of house with the garage. But they're also proposing a pool in the backyard. All the work is still outside the 50-foot buffer. The footprint has increased a little bit within the 100-foot buffer. We also had we revised the stormwater controls as well. I got a review letter from Merrill Associates just this afternoon from them. So I'm going to go through some of those comments. But as Amy said, it's the same single-family home project, minus the septic that's already been done.
Okay. Questions for that? We don't have a plan to look at, right?
No.
No.
Yeah, well, you're not really deliberating necessarily. I guess you guys would take a vote to accept the request if you want to just talk it among yourselves. But we're not asking the butters. This is not the hearing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it gets a full hearing. If we approve the request, it will get a full hearing.
Right. It'll get advertised and it'll be a public hearing.
What happens if we don't approve the request?
Then it would come in as a new notice of intent.
So what's the difference?
Not a lot, honestly. Fee would be one. So by taking it this way, you're saving the applicant some fees. But you're going to give it the same level of scrutiny that you would for a notice.
Yeah.
And it would be issued a new order of conditions, right, Amy? It would be an amended order, so it would be a new order. So you would have another crack at putting, more conditions in there.
Right. Although the expiration date remains the same. So, I think what you would really be accepting once the review is completed, you'd be accepting like the new revised site plan, the new stormwater calcs, and then there's also a pretty elaborate planting plan that they've submitted as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine.
Frank?
Pardon me, Penny?
Do you want to take a vote?
I'm good. Yeah. If everybody's had their questions answered, I'm fine with that. So we'd get a request. I want a motion to extend.
I make a motion that we approve the request for amendment to the orders of condition for 190 Glades Road.
Great.
Accept the request.
Accept the request.
Yeah.
You can approve it too.
No, we're not. Well, we'll approve an amendment. Then we got to see it.
All right.
You
So we got a motion from Penny, a second Anybody want to
Second
second?
from Jen.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor, Richard,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Okay. We'll look forward to hearing from you on that.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you. Would that be on for the 6th, Amy, or?
If you think that you can,
I feel it's gonna be a two-step process, a two-meeting process anyway, would be my guess.
yeah, I think it's on the list for the 6th, actually. But
Okay.
we can get back to you tomorrow and let you know for sure.
Okay,
We are, I mean, not that people really, like, I don't know, we have a lot of filings, so we're trying to keep them straight, but yeah, I think
Sure.
that one made the list for the 6th, so.
okay, great.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Draft minutes for 12/7? No. Okay, we don't have that.
No.
So extension requests, are we going to do these individually or just
Could we do
one?
it, just read them off as one motion? Amy?
So
That's fine.
I just have to recluse myself from number 4, but I'll just recluse myself from all of them. Maybe you can explain that to the members.
Yeah, it's your property.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to go through and identify what each project is, or just give you just what we're gonna do? I mean, everything's crazy right now with COVID, right? I mean,
no,
actually, they're not expiring, but we feel that we could be given a date at any time to basically require us to issue, and since they are building in queue, we're gonna do them in batches, and a 1-year extension is what we're gonna issue. I mean,
that's not a big deal, Amy.
have been around for a while, and at some point, I mean, I don't know, do you just extend a permit forever? I think you can take up that discussion next year and think about it.
Yeah. So you answered my initial question. These are all for 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year, and I mean, essentially, I'll just go through the list real quick. Is addition, town project, marina, a new build, retaining wall, septic system, pool, landscape for a new build, pier, canoe, kayak, ramp, another new build, and then an elevate. So,
So then I would suggest that we just have one motion for all 1 year extensions for all of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also of note,
Unless somebody else sees differently.
some of
I think that's good.
these require full board signatures for the land that's certified.
Well,
What you said didn't make sense, Amy. What'd you say? I got only part of it.
Some of these properties may require board signatures.
Okay.
Because they're certified land.
So you need us to come over and sign?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No big deal.
All right.
So should we read down each one as one motion? Like I make a motion to give extension of 1 year to 31's Kingsway, 100 Cole Parkway, 72 Surfside, 121 Indian Trail, 19 Hillcrest, 34 Bailey's Causeway, 8 Holmes Street, 50 Surfside, and 135 Glades Road.
No, Penny, that wasn't the way to do it. No, that was perfect.
Perfect.
Just second it, Richard.
Second. I don't know if I can now. I'm supposedly chairing, so I don't think I should. No, somebody.
Somebody
second.
please second that.
Doug seconded.
No, that's Brendan.
Brendan did.
Brendan, I'm sorry.
We sound very much alike.
Oh. All right. So a motion from Penny, Brendan seconded. All in favor, Penny?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
Richard, yes. Thank you. Back to you, Frank.
Thanks. Thank you, Richard.
Sure.
Thank you.
So are we down to the end here?
We're just about.
Yeah,
Penny,
just our add-on
and my
categories.
thing.
Penny, I know you've been dying to tell us about CPC.
Not really. But anyways, last week, CPC met, and we do have 2 applications in for this town meeting. First and foremost is we have for the berm, the MBTA berm crossing. And over reviewing that with Sean from DPW, my brother and Frank, we came to the decision that the best thing to do would be first and foremost to go for the funding to permit, design, and engineer that project. And then go back once that's done and we have a firm price on the bridges. Because my feeling was I don't want to get in a problem like we did with the parking areas and roadways, that the permitting took longer than we expected and the price escalated, and we ran short of money. So Frank and myself kind of made that executive decision. So I put in for $45,000 after getting an estimated bill from Morse Engineer. I just wanted somebody to give us an estimate what would cover those things to get them done. So we've put in for $45,000 on that one. And then the second project would be that we do need more money to finish the Damon property. That roadway in the parking. We have some funds, but we don't have enough to complete it. So in the process of putting that in, I know I forgot, but thankfully Frank didn't, that we had always wanted to do from the parking lot at Crosby a handicap walkway to get the people out to the field and to put handicapped picnic tables in. So originally I was going to ask for $20,000. I'm going to ask for $30,000 now. So those two, the road into Damon and the parking and the handicapped accessibility out to Appleton Field and a picnic table or 2 out there. So we can finish those projects up. So those will be coming before CPC in the next month to be voted on, and hopefully it looks like they should both go before town meeting in the spring. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody have any thoughts or questions on that?
Sounds good.
Appreciate Penny shepherding that along with CPC. So the last one that I have is we've gotten some notification from our volunteers and the trails groups that they're finding litter, various things at the parking areas, not just the new ones, but Ellis, whatnot. I think we've had increased use in all these properties, and so we're seeing other activities and whatnot. In the case of, say, the Crosby property or Higgins McAllister, we have the ability to close a gate in the evening if we choose. Other places like the town forest and Ellis, things like that, those parking lots are accessible almost any time. But we're trying to figure out some ways that we might do to curb some of that. We've notified the police department and Craig Keefe, the resource officer. We've also, the volunteer group did a little bit of clearing between the road and the Ellis parking lot in hopes that maybe visually people would be deterred a little bit, though. Over there's a lot of dumping of yard waste and things like that. So it's kind of discouraging. We've put a lot of time and effort into these, and especially these folks are volunteering a lot of time to do this. So they're obviously and justifiably upset with all this. One of them requested that we think about closing the gate at Crosby at the end of the day. And I don't know. I mean, I hate to see the actions of a few people spoil it for others. At the same time, we don't want to see these damaged. And just kind of throwing this out there a little bit, as to whether folks think that there might be some ways to deter some of that. So just actually, anybody wants to chime in a little, I'd appreciate it.
I'm assuming we have some signage up there already. Not that you should need that for trash, but
So as an interim thing, while we're waiting to get the signage finalized for the kiosks and whatnot, we had signs printed, and I put them up at all the parking areas, even some of the older ones. And we do have multiple postings. I mean, there's big signs at the town forest on Maple Street, which has done no good. It's a shame.
Some people use it for a dump, believe it or not. I mean, a dump.
Or a hotel room.
Or a hotel room, yeah, the mattresses. Good weather, they sleep out there.
That wasn't what I was thinking about, but go ahead.
But it's very upsetting. I liked Frank's idea of going to social media. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but I mean, maybe we can get some of these people on our side to start, you know, complaining about it. And people, wake up. You don't leave your rubbish. You don't leave your dump stuff.
yeah, that is discouraging.
Frank, you mentioned that there was and I noticed it was cleared at Ellis. I think it's pretty visible into this parking on Maple Street too, right? Because I mean, clearing from the roadway can go a long way, but most of them are pretty open, aren't they? The ones that can be.
For the most part, the town forest one at Maple, we could probably, we've talked about it before, talking to DPW to see if we could close some of that off, or get it closer to the road. That might help a little bit.
Yeah, having some visibility helps. The gate could work. I just get nervous that it might cause new problems because if I don't know who's opening and closing it every day, but if they're 10 or 15 minutes late, people will then park in front of the gate and suddenly you can't use you show up to use the parking lot and there's a car in the way, and it may create more problems than we're looking for.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we put those gates there sort of as have the opportunity to close them if needed, but yeah, we're going to be looking for volunteers to do that sort of thing, and we can't guarantee exactly when they'll
If
show
somebody
up.
says it was supposed to be open at 9 and it wasn't, so I just parked here and now I'm here for an hour and no one else can come in.
Right.
So that will happen if or it can happen.
Didn't we throw out surveillance cams?
Yeah, but who's going to pay for those, Amy?
The extra money and interactions.
Well, then you have to run a wire in, you know.
Well, maybe not. I mean, you could do wireless cameras.
Oh, all right. I don't know.
If you want to get really crazy, you could do LiDAR too, and we can get all the license plates. Can we not put that in the minutes? Never mind, I didn't say that.
Well, we do have on the signage that we're going to put up. We make note that there could be surveillance, so we certainly could talk about adding some surveillance.
Yeah, I think that's your biggest campaign is if we could do a bust out there, and then people would realize that you could actually get in trouble. So these people are probably not reading the papers.
A trail cam is very affordable. You just have to check. It's like you can get one for under $100. That's fine. But like a really nice one, maybe like 200 or I don't know. Andy's kind of nodding. Maybe he has a better price. I haven't looked at it recently.
No, you're right. It's not all that much.
Yeah.
But then do we have to worry about invasion of privacy and stuff like that? Well, as long as we notice people that you could be under surveillance.
It's on the signs that we have up now, the temporary ones, and it'll be on the other ones. And I actually talked to Craig, and Craig said he talked with the deputy chief or whatever, and it's not really required. I mean, you think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, you finished.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brennan.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's no expectation of privacy in public. I mean, you could video people. It's completely legal.
It's town property. It's not their property.
So we can. I was concerned about that, but he said no. But I think putting the notice up there, hopefully that deters some people to start with. And then, like you said, a game cam or something, or they're fairly easy. Put them up high enough so they can't be vandalized, and give that a shot. And I just didn't know. Does the town have anything that goes out on a regular basis, just asking people to be more attentive? You know, cleaning up after their dogs and stuff. You know, that sort of all gets worse in the winter when it's on top of snow.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it just karma? Just like, you know, and people just supposed to do the right thing, like not leave their trash.
Well, it's discouraging because now there's some remote areas that people can sneak back to, and you know, some of it's just beer cans or, you know, some leftover food things. We haven't had
no reason to leave anything.
Some people are dumping brush and stuff like that. We haven't had any really bad trash, but it's enough. It's brand new, you know, and I think that's just discouraging for people that are helping and doing such a good job taking care of it to come in to do some trail work and see a bunch of trash or litter or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you can, I don't know. We could look around and see what tactics other towns take to keep their lands picked up. I mean, I don't know, closing the land is a consequence of people not being able to be respectful, right? But I mean, it's definitely listed in our rules and regulations that you have to take out what you bring in. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. I don't know. I guess.
Well, why don't we?
Awareness about the topic is a good idea.
Yeah. Well, let's. I think we'll shoot an email to Craig Keefe and the Scituate Police, just asking him for any additional help they can. And then I did discuss Maple Street with the town administrator, and he thought maybe in that case, rather than DPW, that it's right adjacent to the water department, so maybe we could enlist the water department to help us kind of rein in that parking area a little bit.
Yeah, I know that in Hanover, trash dumping was a pretty consistent challenge on a lot of our open space parcels too. And like, for instance, out at the fireworks property, there was a big dumping grounds, and it's a good one for corporate sponsors to pay for cleanup. Like, I know Landers cleaned up a bunch one time. I mean, like dumpsters worth of stuff, you know.
Oh boy.
It's amazing what people will just decide to leave. Or Boy Scouts, Eagle projects. Maybe it's even an Eagle project to raise awareness about the issue and to help us clean it up. Frank, you've got those liaisons, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think at some point we could certainly reach out to people for that. So I guess let's start with an effort to talk to the police and then see what else we can do to curtail that.
So I have a question.
I do think.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do think some notification that you know, this property is under surveillance. You know, like one of those typical, you know, there's things when you, I don't know, you see them everywhere. You know, this project, you know, this property is monitored. At least that, having that notification up there that's very clear might help deter people, at least thinking that they're completely not being watched at all.
Is that something, Jen, that we could get out to like Scituate Monthly or something? I don't know how many people that are going to be dumping that would really look, but at least if we notify folks that we're trying to avoid that. What do you think?
Were you saying Jen Foley or Jen Smith?
Jen
Foley.
Or either.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely, like, I think the town sends out emails about updates on the new senior center. This feels on par with import to a degree. Maybe they can circulate in one of their, but Scituate Monthly is not always a constructive place to have a discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about just getting a hold of Roof from the Mariner and doing an article about shame on people?
Well, I mean, aren't we? It would be good to get in touch with her. I mean, I think we're closer to saying like Higmac is open with that beautiful new bridge. So she can write an article about that, and we can post it and
mention at the same time that, you know, some people, you have to remember, you take it in, you take it out.
Well, I think these are people that don't really.
I understand that.
They're not even hikers. These are folks that just go in at
I
night.
know. They're driving in there, partying, and then leaving the crap.
Right.
But, you know, it might make somebody say something to someone. I don't know.
Okay.
So,
all right, well, go ahead. I'm sorry, was Brendan?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. So the gates that we have, though, they're open all the time, or they're supposed to be?
Well, someone's been taking upon themselves to open and close Crosby. I don't even know who's doing it, but sometimes I'll go by and see it open or close. People are just sort of opening it. There's no lock there. There just seems to be somebody taking it upon themselves to close it.
I was asked by somebody because they were driving and they said they weren't going to turn into it, but they were driving like they were going to. And he said someone was there and they closed the gate on him, so he wouldn't be able to go in.
What time of day was it, though, Brendan?
It was in the early afternoon.
Oh, so it wouldn't have. No, it should be dusk to dawn at all of them.
It was it was maybe even before.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the person just didn't want that person to turn in.
Well, I'll ask.
Not that he was up to any, you know, there was no nefarious intent, but.
Yeah. I'll ask our volunteer group if anybody's actually doing that. But I have gone by and seen randomly it being open or closed. I mean, we can always chain it open if that's a problem. So I really don't know why, but we'll figure that one out.
Well, so here's a question. I mean, does that road to the farm, does that get plowed?
Can't hear you, Amy.
Why not?
I don't know.
I'm not muted. Can you hear me now?
No. Amy's question was, do the roads get plowed? And they were plowed. They weren't plowed immediately, but they got. So somebody's got them on the DPW list to plow. I didn't go down to Higgins McAllister. I didn't go all the way down there, but I noticed Crosby was plowed.
I do believe that DPW had said if they can, they'll get to it, but it's not going to be top on the list. So.
Okay.
I think I muted myself with this.
Yeah, there you go. That was
I was fidgeting around. Sorry.
Okay. I'm crashing. Can we go home?
Yeah.
You have to long commute.
Anybody has any other thoughts or ideas, shoot an email out or give a call, and we'll see if we can up our game a little bit there.
Merry Christmas to everyone. I make a motion to adjourn.
I think Amy had
one more.
Thought on this was, I mean, I feel like we had this discussion like a year ago, because remember we were having all that talk about the Driftway Park and all the high use and the dog.
Yeah.
It's all kind of the same conversation. Wasn't Jen Foley going to write an article or something like that? Or no, she did. That's it.
I did.
Yeah, so maybe I need to find that and get that to the paper, because I think that touches on some of the same things.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Forgotten
great.
about that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to adjourn, please.
And do I have a second?
I'll second it with a Happy New Year to everyone. And Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas first. And the happy.
So, all in favor, Richard,
Yes.
Doug?
We're not going to sing Christmas carols?
You can.
You can stay on afterwards.
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
you, Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan.
Yes.
Great. Okay, thanks so much, and I wish everybody a happy holidays, and happy New Year.
You too.
Yeah.
Too.
Let's roll into 2021 with some.
A better than 2020.
Yes, for sure. But Penny,
Yeah.
it's good. Penny, it's good to hear from you.
Yes, I am up and running.
Ready.
Now I
Yeah.
can
Next
figure out
meeting's
how
on a
to.
Wednesday, folks.
All right.
Okay.
Just,
You got
All
it.
right. I'll
Well,
enjoy
we'll
your
look at
enjoy your families. Take care. Thank
You
you.
too.
Right.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.